Meeting of the Hawaiian Homes Commission is called to order. The meeting is being held via interactive conference technology and in person here at Halepono'i at 915420 Kapolei Parkway, Kapolei, Oahu, 96707. Is being moderated by me, Ulimaila Jr. And today's date is Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. The time is now 9:34 a.m. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to follow roll first and then we'll do that.
Yeah, Commissioner Awo,
Here.
Commissioner Helm,
Here.
Commissioner Kalekini,
Aye.
Commissioner Kaupu,
Here.
Commissioner Namu'o,
Here.
Commissioner Neves.
Aye.
Commissioner Teria,
Here.
Chair Isla.
Present.
8 members present, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Per Act 220, Pauline, sorry, you're the only one on the interactive. I have to ask you, do you have anyone in the room with you?
No.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, keep your camera on during the meeting unless you're excusing yourselves. The quorum of commissioners must be visible during the meeting, and unless unanimous, all votes must be conducted by roll call. Public testimony can either be given at the beginning of the meeting or when the commission addresses the item. Public testifiers online must still sign up 24 hours before the meeting via our website in order to receive the link. Public testimony must be on an agendized item and limited to 3 minutes per person. Okay, we'll go into the minutes and are there any changes to the June 14, 2022 budget workshop minutes, sorry, anyone? I think the minutes were distributed. While you're looking that over, just a couple of announcements for this morning. Items D8, subsection item 12, and then items G4 and G5 were carried over from yesterday's agenda. Going back to the minutes, is there a motion? So moved. Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. Thank you very, very much. We have one testifier for
Yes.
public testimony. We think, okay.
I live in the corner. I live in the corner. I will see if he's a public.
Okay. Aloha, good morning. We can see you. All right, can you unmute, please? Yeah, you're still on mute. Can you unmute? Can you unmute yourself so we can hear you? Okay, we can't hear you. Maybe what we'll do is all right. Did you unmute? Can we hear you?
Hello?
There you go. Okay, we can hear you.
Are you for the public testimony or J agenda?
Did you sign up for public testimony or J agenda?
Public testimony.
Okay, then please proceed. What agenda item are you speaking to?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I don't know if it's on the agenda, but it was regarding the traffic calming at Princess Kahanu.
Okay, that's on. Okay, so you're on the J agenda, or you're speaking towards the J agenda. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. My name is Kona Jugos. I'm the president of Princess Kahanu Association. And I wanted to Um, well, I have concerns about the traffic calming here at Princess Kahanu. We've been asking the department to help us get speed humps within the community for a number of years. And we're still waiting. We heard that the funding was there. It's just that we haven't, I mean, there's a serious problem with people accessing our roads as they come through Hakimo. Sometimes there's accidents on Farrington and the cars, this is the only way they can get through. It's a bypass to go around to Waianae or to Honolulu. And what happens is these people are just speeding through our roads, and we're afraid that it's going to hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt, you know, by these people that have no regard for the people that live here. So I'm asking the commissioners to help us to get something done. Hopefully, you know, I mean, there's other places in Nanakuli that have successfully got their speed humps, but we've been asking since 2016 and nothing's been accomplished. So I actually have one of our residents who his house was hit by a speeder, and he wanted to address the commission also. So I'll turn it over to Donnie Keali'i Holokai, who's one of our residents.
Okay, if Donnie speaks now, you're going to be limited to 3 minutes. You folks signed up for the J agenda where you can speak louder. So what would you like to do?
3 minutes. Donnie.
I just want to show my pictures.
I think 3 minutes would be fine if that's
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, Donnie, go ahead.
Aloha.
Aloha.
I'm a resident here at the Princess Kahanu at 87238 Waiolu Street. Lived here since 1995. This is a picture of my house, 2012, hit by a drunk driver, 2 o'clock in the morning. This is damages to my property. These are issues that have to be taken seriously before somebody gets killed. I had a neighbor had the same thing happen a year later. Mine happened in 2012. So the issue is we've been pushing since 2016 to get something done. What does it take for Hawaiian Homes to start doing something before somebody dies?
Okay.
Can I get an answer?
Okay, so the other communities who are in the process of having these traffic calming measures implemented have gone to the legislature and have received or have had their legislators appropriate the money for the traffic calming devices to be implemented. So I haven't spoken to either of you, but that would be my advice at this point. It's an election year. Your legislators, once they get back into session, that would be the time to get them to add money to the department's budget to do that. Now, once that's done, we still have to work out with the county because I'm looking to Stuart because Princess Kahanu has not been turned over to the county yet, correct? The
From
roads.
what I understand, yes. It has not.
Right? So we'd have to work with the county. We'd have to basically build it to their standards to ensure that they will take it once the roads are turned over to the county for management. Stuart wants to add, so please come to the table, Stuart.
Aloha, Stuart Matsunaga, Acting Administrator, Land Development Division. So we have a design contract where the plans are being prepared for Princess Kahanu Estates. So we can do a follow-up on that. So we have also designs going on for Maluo High and Kaupea and other homestead areas, including Waianae also too. We've had requests there too.
So do we have money for the construction?
We exhausted our construction funding, which was provided by the legislature. So you are correct, Chair, that additional funds should be sought from the legislature because that's where we receive funding for Nanakuli as well as for Waimanalo. So your
Okay,
suggestion is the route I would take.
So it sounds like the implementation is already being designed, but we still need the construction fund. So it would be helpful if the association could work with the elected officials to get the allocation for the construction and the implementation of the traffic calming. And we could tell you after the election who your elected officials are going to be so that you can start making the contact.
Mr.
Yes.
Chair, can I add something?
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up. And you are correct, Mr. Chair, on the traffic coming. Aloha Kona, aloha Princess Kahanu. This is Patty. What I want to also add and suggest is that, and I'll bring it to our neighborhood board level. We work directly with the senators and the legislatures in putting our CIPs. And so we do meet tonight at Kapolehale at 7. And your elected officials do attend and they do hear you. And so what I want to suggest that from our neighborhood board level that we can also help by putting those suggestions in for PK on speed humps. So I will bring that up. So we can also add that in their budget for 2023 to look at traffic calming, speed humps, and those sort of safety measures. And we did that for Nanakuli and working with the ledge in putting in funding for that. And this is why it's moving forward to have that road improvement. So I'll do that on that part, Kona, for Princess Kahanu. But if you can attend and also voice what you voiced today, that will be very, very helpful so they can hear that important safety measures for Princess Kahanu. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Patty. The other elected official that I think you should reach out to is the councilwoman for the area.
Yeah.
Because we will have to get cooperation from the county in order for this to be implemented. Okay?
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very
Mahalo.
much for your
Mahalo.
testimony. And
Chair, can I ask?
Yes.
Stuart a question.
go ahead.
Stuart, as we build new communities, do we build in the requirements for the developers to do traffic calming measures? Or I guess if
Yeah,
not, we should.
it varies county to county. I know that in Keokea Waiahuli, speed humps, speed tables, additional signage was included in the construction plans of the roadways. And so
So I think as a general comment, follow-up, I think for the newer communities, we probably should be adding our own set of requirements that may often go beyond the county requirements because of the experience we've had with our older neighborhoods that we got to kind of retro.
right.
Yes, Commissioner, I think what I think what you're suggesting is we include traffic calming in the design,
Not everybody
construction
wants it.
of new subdivisions, but they also have to be to the county's specs so that when we're done, we can turn it over to the county for maintenance.
Agreed.
Yeah, so.
Right. So
Okay.
point well
Thank-
taken,
yeah.
mahalo.
Gentlemen are talking about, what kind of cost are you talking about for just that speed bumps they're at? Do you have any idea?
From my I guess, the recent installation of speed humps in Nanakuli, they cost about $50,000 per hump. And this is after the original construction. So if it's included with in the construction plans, it should probably be less, yeah, because you get involved in cutting the pavement, installing new signs and striping and, so yeah, doing it with the subdivision is actually really good. One of the things we have to keep in mind is, the speed humps have to be designed such that emergency vehicles can,
Exactly.
keep moving through the subdivision. So we take that into consideration.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Zach.
Can I
Okay.
just add something? I think what it is too, yeah, Kona, is that where Princess Kahanu is located, and it's sad because you're right, Hakimo, people cut through Farrington Highway, whip it to Princess Kahanu, make that left and try to go up to Hakimo. The other concern too, what they did was when they made that area Hakimo, Pa'akea, an emergency access road, that people tend to use your Princess Kahanu to get up to the emergency access road and cut through Maili.
Correct,
So,
yes.
it is rough because I know I see cars going through there, whipping it through with no consideration, correct? And I feel for your homestead there, but it's difficult. And I think we all have to sit down and work with DOT and DTS and our elected officials and how we can do traffic calming in that area to make it safer. I'm not sure if coming down Hakima with no left turn into Princess Kahana would work, but I think that's something that we, the community, should sit down and, and come up with great solutions for safety measures too. Thank you, Kona. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
I think the way to solve Princess Kahanu's problem is to condemn part of the property at the corner of Hakimo so people
Oh,
can make that turn, especially the big
yeah.
trucks.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned it to Ed. So Ed is taking a look at, Ed is the deputy director at Transportation Highway. So he's looking at it, and I think the next phase of the widening of Farrington Highway, it's scheduled to be implemented there. That would help
Yeah,
relieve.
that would help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Chair, can I add that I just got a note from our consultant that they spoke with Brenda
Brenda's
from the
mom.
association.
Yes.
So this was on July 8th. So they're doing some adjustments to the humps.
The
in,
design of the humps.
that are being designed. So Department of Transportation at the city will chimed in on the design.
Okay. So it's good that things are being discussed and designed right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so just help you get the money for the construction.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, I wanted to add that Stacy Lynn Eli had written to us and told us that the money was already approved. It's just, we haven't seen anything. So that's reason why we wanted to bring this up to the commission.
Okay, she might be referring to the money that was allocated for Nanakuli.
Yeah.
And maybe in hopes that there would be something left afterwards, but I don't think we're gonna have anything left after the.
So
Sorry, Stuart.
the funding was approved and allotted, and so the department land development division used the funding for the design work. So the design work for Princess Kahanu was included in that, but we have exhausted all of the construction funds with the work that we conducted in Nanakuli.
So we have to allocate and push for construction funds now.
That is
Correct.
correct, Commissioner.
Okay, so we'll all do that, Kona, together. Yeah?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Aloha.
Thank you,
Thank
Stuart.
you.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Okay, we will go to the J agenda next. Unless there's any more testifiers? No? Okay. Okay, first up is Harold Bindina.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, aloha. My name is Harold Vidina. I'm the president of the Kekaha Hawaiian Homestead Association on Kauai. I decided to come here and speak to you because next month you will see me again on Kauai for a different subject. What is going on Kauai? We need your help and your input on this. For example, we have a Hanapepe Hawaiian Homestead Association. They have, Hawaiian Homestead. They have no representation. And I didn't know that for a while until they came and approached me. Let me back up just a second. Hanapepe Hawaiian Homestead, Kekaha, 85% of the Hawaiians are from Ni'ihau. Okay. People who learned Hawaiian language at University of Hawaii, they still can't communicate easily with our Ni'ihau Hawaiians. And our Ni'ihau Hawaiians are very, very different. I wish that you commissioners, when you get meeting on Kauai, that you allocate a couple hours and come down to our neighborhood and see the Hawaiians from Ni'ihau. They are very humble people. No matter what is wrong with the place, only a few, and I venture to say those that have been on Kauai all their lives will speak up. But the other Hawaiians, they're just so grateful for what they got, even though it's a really substandard, so to speak, anything like that. So Hanapepe, getting to Hanapepe, between the road and the front of their property is about 20 feet. In the back, it's wide open area. The kids have no place to play. Some of the homesteaders went out and they built a beautiful little playground, and they're always out there when the kids there. Hawaiian Homes came and took it down. Just came and took it away. You need to see what Hanapepe looks like for you to realize they need a playground back there. The kids need a place to play. I understand that the Hawaiian Homes is in the process of allocating more land to these people because they weren't given a certain amount when they were first issued the land. When this will happen, I don't know. And your procedures, you take a lot of time to do. I would like to go back and say, you know what? This land, and behind their homes, let me tell you, it's wide open Hawaiian Homes. I would bet you 3/4 of a mile of ag land that you plan to eventually put homesteaders on. But what I'm asking is, why can't we put a little playground for the kids to play now? And it was a simple rugs. They went and got rugs from the hotel that they threw away, put that down and made it really safe. You'd have to see it too. I don't think you would be part of it to take it down, but they was taken down. So now that they realize we've got an association that speaks on the behalf of the people in Kekaha, they approached me. And there's a little more problems coming up. And so I invited them to join our association so I can bring the problems or the situation to you to have it acted on. But as of right now, they did not have anybody to speak on their behalf. And in Kekaha, like I said, the Hawaiians are very different from other ones. We try to do things, everything the association does. We go out, we work with partners, we try to get, because we don't have money. We have fundraiser once a year that pays for our insurance and every little things, but that's it. Well, now we have outside help. There's Hartong Brothers, big agriculture company. They came in, they talked to me, they're willing to help me. You'll hear this next month, but just connecting the dots. I have the shrimp factory on Kauai. They're willing to help us. So they're willing to help us to do things, and we try to get things done together. We, as the association, never decide on things to do without going to the people and giving them a chance to give their mana'o, whether they want what we're doing or what we're planning, because it is useless to plan and do things if the people are not for it. You know, whoever does it can stand up, beat their chest, saying, look what we did for them. But if the people don't like it, it's a useless thing. So I asked you, because there's rumors that comes down to our place too. Being the only association, I venture to say, on the west side, I come here today to ask you to give us the courtesy to let us know. Call me, or we'll get you the names that you need to contact, but my name is here in Hawaiian Homes. Let us know what is planned. When anyone wants to come into the west side, it's not we don't want, we want to know what's going on. As we don't want to do anything without our people knowing, we don't want anybody else to come in without us knowing. Because I think we should have the right to be in that meeting from the beginning to completion. A lot of times, well, not a lot, but there was one time where it was already in the works, everything was rolling, then they'll come in and tell us, this is what's gonna happen. We wanted not. They split the community. Half of them wanted, half it didn't. But if it was discussed from the ground up, I think we would still be a stronger community than we are today. So today I'm here to tell you, Kekaha Hawaiian Homestead Association has brought in Hanapepe Hawaiian Homestead into our association. And I'm here to speak on behalf of the people. And I will take anything that I've said here or you said and bring it back to them so that they know exactly what's going on. And that's the only way I feel that we can get ahead and we can harmonize, be happy, everybody be happy. So with that said, do I have any questions?
Yeah, Harold, can I ask you a quick question before we open up to the commission? So what you're referring to is the Hanapepe subdivision that exists now, correct? The
Yes.
long, narrow lots?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm assuming that what you're referring to as the playground was immediately on the
ag land side,
on the on
behind the houses.
on the Makaha side of the
Yes.
houses. Okay, so the clearing that went on there, I know because we made sure that every resident had lots of advance notice. The clearing that went on there was basically to clear the area as a fire break and to allow the surveyors to come in, because the residents at Hanapepe for the longest time have been asking the department, since their lots were long, narrow, and skinny, that they looked around at the rest of the average lots on Kauai and asked for additional acreage to be added to their lots. So that's the purpose of what happened to go on. So we're in the process of trying to do the surveys, to change the leases, to increase the acreage per lot there. And at the same time, there's a second phase of development that's occurring where, Stuart, I'm going to ask you to come back real quick and just describe the second phase of Hanapepe and what's going to happen. So it may be that, and I know that planning went out. I know that there's been a lot of discussion in the community about this additional homes being built behind the existing homes. So real quickly, 5 minutes.
Yeah. So at Hanapepe, a couple things are going on, and let me just first address that expansion of the lots in phase one. So there's 47 lots, and other than one lot up at the top because it's a weird triangle shape, the lots are basically about 6,000 square feet. And so through the final environmental assessment that planning had conducted, one of the actions was to increase the size of those lots. The reason they were at 6,000 square feet was we were trying to maximize the number of opportunities for homesteading. This was back in the early 90s. In fact, I worked on that project too. So let's see. Okay, so 6,000 feet basically brought the lots up to where the newly acquired homestead land began. So we couldn't go beyond 6,000 square feet. Now that we have the additional 350 plus acres, which was under general lease for cane production, that has ceased. So with the final EA, again, the action was, there was an action in there which commission had approved to expand the lots. So we're actually next week, the surveyor is going to be in there doing the surveys, locating the existing pins, and then starting to put the consolidation re-subdivision plan together to increase the size of the lots from 6,000 to 7,500 square feet. So that's going to add about 30 feet to the rear of the lots. So that's happening. At the same time, we are in engineering designs for development of approximately 80 lots that will be immediately adjacent to the new boundary line of the phase 1 lots along Moy Road. So
we have Harold's contact information, maybe all the planning PowerPoints, we can get that to Harold. Harold, so this has been in discussion for a long time. So for me, it's kind of disturbing that I guess some Hanapipi residents are coming to you and saying that the department is not talking to them. That's disturbing to me because we've put a lot of effort into talking to all of those Hanapipi residents, as well as being out there in West Kauai to talk about the second phase, which is the 80 lots. So we'll be happy to update everybody one more time. And I'm glad that the Hanapipi folks are asking to join with your association so that we now can push information through your association to them.
And, you know, along that, that's the example here. It was mentioned that some people talked about having the lots bigger. And so you went and, you know, looked at it and said, yeah, they should have it bigger. But some people, and I hope it's not true everywhere, but Kauai, I don't know, the Hawaiians like to grow cars.
It is true.
Behind the homesteads, some lots are beautiful. Some got car walls that went off for fence or whatever. But anyway, someone saying, well, why are we going to give everybody the big lot? And I agree they should be bigger, but why can't we put something like a community garden between their homes and the vacant Hawaiian home lots, which you plan to put houses, and put a park or put a park in there? Because you're going to build homes when, you know, I don't know, but they need a playground. They they have kids, infants right now, maybe about 5, they got about 20 or 30, you know, 3rd grade and below kids running on the road. And like the gentleman said on the TV, it's going to take an accident for us to do something, because these kids will go on the road. And I cannot stress it enough, from the garage to the edge of the road is a matter of 25, 30 feet. So that ball don't need to bounce too much before they be in a car.
Okay, so Harold, you have a good idea. The department is not into building parks or maintaining parks, but if your organization would be interested, we could take a look at lands that are adjacent but not destined for homesteading. And then, if the new group can put together a plan on how they would maintain the park and come forward for a land disposition, then we would certainly, I think, consider that.
Yeah, because, like I said, they built the park on their own because they wanted to play, safe place for the kids to play. So if we can't come together, and it's their kids, so they're not gonna build anything that's any danger to the kids. If they could put something up behind their house, personally, I can't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
If there is a law or whatever, then we'd have to, like you said, come together and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'd be happy to have future discussions. I think Stuart wanted to add something.
What we can do, Chair, is to share the final EA with the Kekaha Association. And, it went through a lot of vetting through the planning office. And I attended a number of community meetings in the preparation of the draft and the final EA. So
And Harold, as
we can
part,
share
as-
that
Are we
and see
talking
where,
about the same, because we had a lot of meetings, but those were, if I understand it right, were ag lots. You're saying it's gonna be house lots now?
the long range plan for Hanapepe is a combination of residential and agricultural lots and community use. So there could be an opportunity to look at where this community use would be and whether that includes a park. I can't speak for the details of that, but I think we need to just start with the final EA, look at the land use plan, and then see what kind of alternatives we have.
So when we are on island next month, Stuart and likely planning will do presentations about the existing plan moving forward. So that'd be the perfect time for, invite them to come to the meeting or watch virtually, see what the plans are, and then we can have discussion on how to address some of the concerns, like having a place that is used for community. Okay?
Mhm. Yeah, because like I said, I attended quite a few of those meetings, and basically we were talking about ag lots for the Hanapepe, and I know you mentioned community use facilities, but it must cross me about the homes, putting house lots in there. But that's a good start. What we're doing here is a good start. Then, I asked that we have representation when you come to the west side and you got proposed projects, or you've got other people interested in property on the west side. I asked that you include Kekaha Hawaiian Home Association to be in the meetings, if possible, from the ground up. So there is no who halfway through the project. We can all disagree, but if we disagree on the same issue and not come up with, he said, that said, we never gonna get anywhere.
Okay, we will
Okay.
try.
Chair.
Okay. Yes, Dennis.
First of all, Harold, thank you for your service, because I know you spend a lot of time at Kekaha. You do a lot of good programs for the community. And thank you for fostering Hanapepe. I've talked to them several times and told them this is what they need to do. I think they're a little apprehension about what to do and how to do it. And they know you've been president for a long time. We've talked about a lot of issues. I think what Harold's concerned about, there's been some rumors about some other projects that are out there. And what he wants to make sure, and I agree, in the beneficiary consultation process, is to make sure that everyone is involved. My concern is when we have these beneficiary consultation processes, we need to make sure we're talking to beneficiaries and not somebody from outside, down the road, part of some other organization that's putting in comments that has nothing to do with that community. The Nihans are a special group of people. They are very humble. I think I shocked them when I went down there and told them, don't let Hawaiian Homes shove something down their throat. You figure it out. And they sort of looked at me like, what? But they did get involved. If you remember, Harold, we had the maps out and they were all involved and we had our Nihan interpreter. But yeah, and I know we have a lot of other issues. We've got pool pie. We have the farm up there that's being operated by someone that's maybe not to the group's liking, but that's the group needs to make those decisions and we back those decisions. So, and I'm glad you came. I didn't know you were coming. I saw you on the list, but I didn't know if you were going to make it, but we support East Side, West Side, all associations, but it's primarily the beneficiary's call. And we will ensure that there's a beneficiary consultation before any new activity falls in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one last thing he brought to my mind is, I just gotta say it, because I don't know how else to say it. Us Hawaiians from Niihau were brought up under a stiff arm. So to this day, if they know any one of you is a commissioner from Hawaiian Home, they will not talk to you. They are afraid of authority. I'm telling you, they are afraid of authority. I'm trying to bring, some of them are getting loose. So if you could find a way and you happen to speak to one of them, don't let them know you're a Hawaiian Home commissioner. You're just another Hawaiian interested in what they're doing.
Already blew my cover.
And they'll talk to you. But if they know you have some type of authority, they will nod their head yes to anything you say. And that's a fact. It's going to be a long, hard road to bring them out of bondage. With that said, thank you very much.
Yes, hang on a second.
So this morning, when you're speaking on behalf of the Hanapepe folks, you mentioned that I think you said incorporated them into your association. So you're not just representing them today at this meeting, but formally you guys have brought them into the Kekaha Hawaiian Homes
Yes,
Association.
correct. They are part of Kekaha Hawaiian Homestead Association. In fact, two of them are now on the board
On the
of
board.
directors. Yes.
So then, Stuart, I want to ask you, back in the 90s for that phase one, when that development was done. At the time, it wasn't a phase one though, right? That was the project, or was it always a phase project with the 300 whatever acres behind always on the books, or?
Yeah, I don't believe we had the 350 acres at that time.
So the question for you was, at the time we did what now is phase one, did we create, or was there an association put into place, or was there CCNRs that set up an association of any sort, or?
No CCNRs. I
So,
don't
so there's
believe,
no
associate-
other group that now is gonna show up and say, hey, we don't belong to Kekaha. We the original association, because we've had that happen.
I don't think we can guarantee that.
Yeah.
Let me correct myself there. There is one more association. It's called West Side Hawaiian Homestead Association. And to me right now, I'm trying to bring us together as one. We're a small community. Through negotiation and something happened in the homestead, and half of the Hawaiians wanted this, the other half didn't want it. And it caused a split. And so they went and they did their own association. They got the project that they wanted. And that's fine, because I thought it was democratic. You vote, you win, you get what you want. And apparently it didn't. It split the community. So there is another association. How much involved in the community? From what I see, there's none. So if there is another association other than Kekaha, Hawaiian Homestead, that would be West Side Hawaiian Homestead.
And then Stuart, for the phase two development in Hanapepe, and the one that we're going through now, is that a CCNR community? Are they gonna have another association for that new I see
We,
someone shaking their head behind me.
yeah,
So,
the answer is no.
Okay.
I think that's Gigi in the back there.
So I think,
So, yeah, so there's
Let us
no,
bring our
very
CCNRs.
CCNRs. Just, once the lessees are in there, if they choose to
They can voluntarily.
establish, then they can do so on their own.
So at
That's
at
what-
that time, you might open up to those
Well, yeah, that's
folks.
what we're doing. My answer to them was, come in with us. Learn our bylaws, and all what it takes to become a 501c3. When you're comfortable with what you got to learn from us, then go on your own, because you're still 10 miles away from us. And, I made it where I have two representatives from Hanapepe, two from phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and I'm in phase 4. So I try to get representation from each built community, so you can get the input in. Before, unless you went and physically looked, you wouldn't know what's happening where. So, yeah, so they're willing to come in, they're on the board. And once they get their foot down, they get more people interested, get together, then hopefully they'll form their own.
Mahalo.
any other questions? If not, thank you, Harold. Look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you all for your time. and I'll
Thanks,
see you
Harold.
next month.
Thank you, brother.
Aloha. Okay, next up, Agenda 2, Burnett Lee. Let's check online. Okay, J3. Okay, Tiare and, sorry, I can't read my writing from yesterday. Tiare? Wait. Not sure. They're the ones that said they're coming back. Okay, so maybe it's listed. Okay. You were here yesterday, right? All right. All right. J3, we're on J3. Okay, so this is your opportunity to address the commission. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. We'll share. Okay, we'll give it to the chair and then we'll share. Keep one for you and we can share. Okay, so let me understand. So the department made the department and the commission made a decision about a successorship. And you're here wanting to share information on the decision that the department made in terms of the successorship.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically contested, I guess.
Okay.
Challenge the decision.
All right. Why don't you tell us why?
Okay. Hello, commissioners. We are here, the Ohana of the late Danette Rayford and Robert Swan.
I'm sorry, my fault. Can you introduce yourself first?
Oh, I'm sorry, Selena Swan.
Selena, okay.
I'm Marisha Holy Arrington.
We're coming for you today to address the designation of successorship for lot 11, lease 561. I'd like to apologize in advance if we become emotional while addressing the panel today, but it is very important and passionate subject to us. First off, we'd like to thank you for listening to our testimony, my niece and my daughter's testimony today, and to on the agenda for yesterday for D-8 and to this putting off the decision that was supposed to be made yesterday on the approval of this successor. our Ohana has been fighting and will continue to fight for our ancestral home until there's absolutely nothing that can be done. That's how much this property means to so many of us. May 26, 2006. My mother-in-law, Danette Rayford, submitted a new successorship papers and witnesses were signed. The reason for her submitting this new successorship, she only had my brother-in-law, Robert Swan, on there initially. And because of the differences that Rob and Jimmy had and how biased Rob could be towards his brother and the family, my mother-in-law decided to change her successorship and submit new papers. And this was caused by when she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She wasn't supposed to live not past 2 months. So she decided to submit new successorship papers. In June 22nd, 2006, that's one of the papers that I submitted to you guys. Only one letter was sent asking for required documents of her designation of successorship, and that's from Terry Lou. Needed to turn in birth certificates for Jimmy Swan and Gail Saleh. Thank you. Danette was in home hospice care with stage 4 terminal cancer. At this time, we were unaware that this letter was sent to her. Not saying that it wasn't sent, but we was unaware that this letter was sent requiring the birth certificates. Not sure on the letter that was sent from Terry Lou, but in written, it says department returned DS for needed documents, never received original and required documents. It looks like it's 12/16/2010. To me, this should have, I'm not sure who wrote that on there, but this is what was sent to us. A letter or a phone call, I believe, should have been sent to the family asking for it, for the documents, but this all of a sudden was just written on here that no documents was submitted 2010. And my mother-in-law has passed like for 3 years since this was done. On January 2007 is when she passed. March 21st, 2011, Robert Swan was approved the lease based off of the successorship that was submitted on April 3rd of 1989. That's when she only, the original one that she only had Rob as a successor.
Okay, so ever since my Uncle Rob took over the lease after the death of my grandma, things started going downhill. If you guys look at the paperwork that we gave you, there's some pictures. The first set of pictures is how it was when Uncle Rob took over the lease. Family was being chased away. Strangers was being replaced from our family. You know, structures was being built. All these things was being built on the property. You know, it wasn't within DHHL standards. You know, cars was being stored on a property like it was some type of junkyard. Mess started cluttering up, bulks. It looked terrible. It looked so sad. Anybody that would pass by the block, if you guys know Carolina Block, you guys pass by the block and you guys see that land, you'd be like, oh my gosh, what happened? This wasn't the same land that was a couple of years ago. Oh, my grandma had it. My grandma had that land down pat. My grandma opened up that land for anybody who needed a place to stay, not just family, anybody. You know, the damaging wasn't just happening outside of the land, it was happening inside home as well. You know, everything out of place, strangers in rooms, bills not being paid. No bills is being paid. You know, family wouldn't even want to go home because that's not how it was. It wasn't right. We didn't feel right. You know, even a family that was living on the land, you know, they had nowhere else to go. That was the only place that they knew was home. You know, so my uncle, he started getting sick. His heart started to change, you know, so sad. It's like that. You see it with my grandma too. You know, once you start getting old or once you start falling ill, you know, your heart started to change. You know that you got to make some changes within your family, within yourself. And that's what he did. You know, that's what he started to do. You know, he started reaching out to his real family more. He wanted family to come back home, but it wasn't that easy. He knew the amount of damage he caused his family and the land, but he knew how sick he was. He knew that change needed to be done now. But unfortunately, he passed away before any real change could happen. You know, before my uncle passed, he spoke to a couple of us, you know, me, myself, my cousin in the back, and my sister. He spoke to us and he told us what he wanted, you know, but like I say, he passed away so quick, you know, so after, you know, we got to send him off, we came together as a family and we did what we thought was right. We had to take back our land. We made a change. We did. So if you guys looking at packet towards the ending of the pictures, you guys see how our family came together and we made that change. You guys see the difference. We did that. We took off all the structures that you guys, you know, DHHO came to the land and they was telling us, hey, in order for you guys to even be considered, this gotta be done. All these red flags, this gotta be removed. You guys gotta clean this. This car gotta be out in front of the driveway. We did everything that you guys asked us to do. We did as family. And I just wanna make a note that Kaimana Swan Merritt, he never even lifted a finger. He never came, he never spent one penny. Hey, he had a job, he knew they was working hard. He could have bought some pizza. They just built a new Pizza Hut down the street. He could have took care of his family in any way that he could, but he didn't. He did it. He did nothing. We did this. And we got invoices to show that. If you guys, there's another packet and it includes some invoices of past bills that, you know, that wasn't taken care of. You know, we had a water bill of 8 Gs, electric bill, 13 Gs. Okay, family land tax, almost 3,000, 2,400. You know, we did the land tax. We took care of that. The water bill, we almost pow. You know, we were working on it. We never get the chance to start on an electric, but we was getting there. You know, we was doing this as a family. You know, so. You know, like I said, we all came together as a family. You know, all this stuff happened while Uncle had the land. You know, like Auntie Selena said, my grandma knew how he was towards his family. My grandma knew how his relationship was with his brother. So that's why my grandma signed that document. That document is an instrument of faith, of hope, of change, of courage. That document that she signed before she passed away. She, like Auntie Selena said, she was under hospice. She was bedridden. She never just have one cancer. She was facing multiple cancers. My grandma was strong, but she knew that she needed to make a change before she left. And that's why she signed that document. You know, it's so sad because DHHO was not even considering that document because of required documents. They're still alive. You guys could have reached out. You guys approved this commission in 2011, 4 years after she passed. You guys could have reached out. One letter was sent. You guys could have reached out more. You guys could have called, you know, and we would have did it. Anything that we could have possibly done, we could have did it. We would have had that birth certificates. We would have walked it down there to ourselves. We would have did it. You know, so it's sad. We're here. I've been one to fight this from the beginning. Me. I'm the one that doesn't give up. Me. I've been knocked down by so many people. Knocked down. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. No, this is Manas. This is Manas. But no. We're here because we want you guys to hear our hurt. Look at our pain. Look. This is our land. We came together as a family. We made a change. We did. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna pass it over to Auntie.
Not sure if many of you know, but Danette Rayford, my mother-in-law, she was known in the community. Her heart, her loving, her caring for everyone, not just family. HCAP in Waianae was dedicated to my mother-in-law because of who she was and her legacy that she leaves behind. You know, and to give Kaimana the property, the house. And from our understanding, after Rob passed away, that he was gonna stay in the family, was gonna fix it up, rebuild. Next thing you know, he's selling.
May of 2022.
He's selling the house, sending letters. Everybody gonna be evicted in 45 days.
Not
This is
offering help.
not what my mother-in-law wanted. This is not what his grandma wanted. This house been in the family almost a century. And we come to you folks humbly and ask if you guys could keep it in the family, to keep it, honor my mother-in-law's wishes. That's all we're asking. You know, she has children still alive, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Anybody that needs to go there, this is the house where they can go, because this is the foundation that my mother-in-law built. And selling, allowing Kaimana to have this house and he sell it, it's just like losing her all over again. The hurt and pain, because everything is just going to be stripped off because of one individual, so selfishness, to take it away from everyone. Please, like I said, we come to you with a humble hearts. We ask you to please honor her wishes, to where she had Jimmy Swan as one of the successors, to allow to honor this paperwork. We have his birth certificate. All he needed was a birth certificate to turn in. Nobody reached out besides this one letter back in 2006.
And I just want to comment, nobody knew that Uncle Jay wasn't co-leasee with his brother. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
We never knew that.
We
We
was
never knew
unaware.
until all this started coming up,
I was unaware that this document wasn't.
because that was
Right,
the last
yeah.
thing she was saying. We had a meeting before she passed and she told us everything. I was little. I was 4. You know, I remember though, because this is something so valuable as that land. This is important. You know, we never knew. We never knew that Uncle wasn't co-leasee. We never knew his stuff got turned in. We had this property since our kupuna and a kapo owner. Okay, 1933, 89 years we had this property. Nobody thought to sell the land. Everybody knew that land was for family. Everybody did. And then now all of a sudden, Kaimana becomes the leasee because Robert failed to name a successor. We never knew that. We thought that it was going to go to Uncle Jay. We never knew that. You know, so the fact that, like she said, he's just going to come and say he's going to sell the land after years. 2021, he knew that I guess the transfer of his lease appeared in August 2nd, 2021. And that's when he was saying, no, this is my land. You know, I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to keep it in a family. I'm going to build a big house. You guys have nothing to worry about. I'm not going to kick nobody out. You know, all our family depended on that. And we know also we came together with him and said, we can help. You know, let's do this. Next generation, this is our time to shine, our time to make a difference. So like Auntie said, we're just asking that you guys, you know, understand where we're coming from. Understand why we're fighting this hard. I'm pretty sure the HHL got hella calls from us, you know, asking like questions, asking, you know, like, wait, how can this happen? Why? But now we're here. Now we're saying it to you guys' face, and we're just asking.
Okay, so the J agenda is for you to bring the concerns to us. You're not
Yes.
going to get an answer from us right now. You have submitted paperwork, which we will take a look at. And then we'll confer with the process. And if we need to, we'll ask for additional insight from the Attorney General's office, and then we will get back to you. But you're not going to leave today with an answer, okay? Okay, but we do hear the pain, we do hear the anguish, we do hear the frustration. And I'm sorry that you can't leave with an answer today, but we will definitely be in touch with you. Okay?
Okay, just a question. So because you guys said that you guys were going to, because we asked for you guys to hold off on approval yesterday. And then you guys is coming over today. So is it gonna be held off until we get an answer?
I think we're gonna go into executive session after the rest of the J agenda. At least that will be my recommendation, and then we'll have a discussion about what to do on D8 subsection 12.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thank you. Can I just say, I just, wanted, I'm not gonna talk about the case or anything, but I just wanted to thank you, family, for coming today, yesterday and today. And I just wanted to add that I knew your mother, your grandma, Danette, and you're correct. She was a very strong community leader in the Waianae Coast with HCAP. We worked together on many projects. And so she helped a lot of people along the Waianae Coast. And so I just wanted to add that and we hear you. And like our chairman said, that we will go into executive session to discuss, but I'm from Nanakuli, and I just wanted to thank you, family, to for being here, to stay together and leave everything in prayer. So you take care on your travel. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mahalo nui.
Okay, mahalo nui to you. Yes, go ahead.
Testimony today. I wanted to understand, so when Danette passed away, prior to that, I think it's your testimony that she intended to submit a successorship that named both sons,
Yeah,
not
that's
just,
on the paper
not
that-
just one of them.
Yes, it's on the paper that I understand right here.
And,
She sent it in.
and then she sent it in, and then you got a letter back
um,
that said you
but
need
this
to
is what they
submit.
sent us when we was inquiring and questioning throughout all this that was going on. Was questioning, and then that's when they sent us this letter stating that this letter was sent to her. But we
And-
were unaware of this letter.
The letter requesting additional information, right? The letter requesting additional information, which you
Yeah.
were unaware of.
Yes.
Requesting the birth
Required
certificates,
documents, yes.
which we were unaware of.
So your point is that Mama intended the two sons to be successor, but because of this failure in documentation and you folks didn't know about it, it went to just one son, which was,
Yes, went back to her
Robert.
original successor
Yeah.
that she
Fell back
Back
on in
in
89.
89.
She filled out a form in 89, just naming one son.
okay,
Which was Robert, and then in 2000 and
Over the course of the year, she saw how both boys grew up and how they was, So she knew that she can't just fault one son over his flaws when the other son got just as much flaws.
got it, yeah. I'm sorry for the pilikia.
in 2006, that's when she submitted the new successorship, naming Jimmy Swan and Robert and Gail. Gail is her cousin, and Gail was added on there so she could be basically the mediator between the two boys.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? All right,
Real quick one. Gail Sale, she has a homestead in Nanakuli up, the Sale Ohana. Yeah, they do, yeah. But it's not under Gail though, right?
I'm not sure.
That we have no
Okay.
idea.
All right, thank you.
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is J5, Blossom. Blossom is done, okay. Okay, so let's ask her, yeah. When they're in. Okay, so Aloha, can you introduce yourself? Are you Vernette Lee? And you're on mute. So the person that's on the screen right now, can you unmute and identify yourself? Okay, so what J agenda item are you speaking to?
I'm here for the Swan family.
Okay, we're sorry. We just excuse them. They made their presentation. Okay, so they made their presentation, so I'm not sure what else you can bring.
Oh, so they're done?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
all right. Okay, so we don't have Vernette Lee. We're gonna bypass, and then I think this would be a good time. Sorry, Kana, you're just gonna have to wait for us to go into exec session while it's still fresh in our mind. So could I have a motion to go into exec session? Okay, let me, for the record. Yes. And yeah, so to be clear, the motion should be going to exec session to discuss D8, item 12, and it's relative to section 92J-1 HRS relating to government records maintained by the Department of Hawaiian Homelands that are not required to be publicly disclosed. Okay, who made the motion?
I did.
Okay. You got it? Okay. Okay, all those in favor of going to the exec session, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, no one opposed. Thank you, Pauline. Give us a second to clear the room, and then I guess you're coming to the table. No, mic's not on. At least it doesn't appear to be on. Okay, there we go. Okay, everyone, aloha, welcome back to the open session. Okay, real quick, Mauricia Harrington in the chat in the wait room. Are you here representing Vernette Lee? Is there anyone representing Vernette Lee? No, okay. All right. Just trying to make sure everybody had their chance. Okay, we are going to go back to agenda item D8, number 12. Commission members, I need a motion to consider staff recommendation. It's been moved and seconded. Any further questions for staff? Okay. One more time. You better do roll call. We're just confirming who moved and who seconded. Okay. So we're gonna do roll call on this because I expect it not to be unanimous.
Commissioner Wolf. Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Kulekini. Commissioner Kaupu.
Nay.
Commissioner Namuo. Commissioner Namuo.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Commissioner Nevis.
Aye.
Commissioner Teruya.
Abstain?
Chair Ira.
Aye.
6 ayes, 1 no, 1 abstention, motion
Okay.
carries.
Did you want to make a statement on the record? You had indicated it. No,
I didn't want to make a mistake.
you didn't want to. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. You got a hard job.
But you do it well.
Okay,
That's why you get the white shoes.
where's
Andrew is on.
okay, while we wait for Kahana to come back, why don't we do G4?
Yes. Yes, Gigi.
Gigi, okay.
Yes.
You've been waiting
Thank you,
patiently
Gigi.
since yesterday afternoon.
She was here all day.
I saw you nodding, Gigi, in the back. When I was
Yes.
couldn't help you. You had to. Body language.
Topic for
hello.
another day. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Item G4 for information only, and GG will present the item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Chair. Gigi Kyrell, Grant Specialist with the Planning Office. First, I'd like to thank the Chairman and the Commission for approving an allocation of $8.5 million in the department's grants budget for fiscal year 2023. And just as a reminder, this is a one-time only funding. While we hope to get the same in future years, it's probably not likely. The breakdown is 7.5 million in state general funds. That is the one-time only occurrence, and $1 million from the NERF, Native Hawaiian Rehabilitation Fund. So this is 8 times more than what our regular grants budget is in previous years, largely due to the Hawaii State Legislature appropriating a one-time only $10 million in state general funds to the department for services to existing homesteads. That was very specific and clear as to the legislative intent for these funds. This is a separate and distinct allocation from the 600 million that you folks have been discussing. So this is a very separate allocation. As you folks know, there is much need in the community, and as staff and the department, we will deploy these funds and assist homesteads to the best of our ability. Oh, sorry, can you go back to the table? There we go. So here's the action plan for the fiscal year 2023 grants program. We will be putting out, our intent is to put out 4 requests for proposals. We haven't done that for a number of years. The RFPs are also called competitive sealed proposals. It is a specific procurement process that we use, a state procurement process. The RFPs have not yet been released, so you're just getting a preview. So basically, there's going to be 4 RFPs. The first 2 are funded by the state funds. RFP number 1, the intent is improvements to existing facilities on Hawaiian homelands. Again, the legislative intent is to service existing homesteads. So that's why that criteria is there. The second RFP is for existing programs and services to our homesteads, to lessees. And then the third RFP is a general project implementation grant. Basically, that can be used for anything. Good projects, we're looking for good projects, can also be regional plan projects. And that's being funded by NERF trust funds. And then we are also again offering number 4, the capacity building grant. So a couple changes from our prior grant programs, and based on beneficiary feedback, we are making all of these RFPs available to all nonprofits. They do not have to be a 501c3. They can be a nonprofit under HRS 414D, which is the Nonprofit Corporation Act, or they can be a nonprofit under the planned community HRS 421J, also known as DCCR homesteads. We also increased the capacity building grant. Typically, it has been at $5,000 per application. So we're increasing that to $15,000.
How much was that, Gigi?
I'm sorry?
How much was that?
From 5 to 15, 1-5. Yeah. Let's see. And then we are also, one of the requirements or criteria is for all of the RFPs except for the capacity building. We are limiting it to 1 application per RFP, largely due to the capacity of our organizations. And we do have a number of associations that have multiple grants from us that are outstanding. So, you know, we want to make sure there's enough chance by every association to apply. Capacity building, because we have unincorporated groups, they are not formed as a nonprofit. So they may partner with somebody who is a nonprofit on their behalf. So that one, we can receive multiple applications from one organization. Okay. Next slide. I've mentioned this before. This is our standard practice. If an organization has a current grant with the department, if you're out of compliance in any way, or you have outstanding reports, which we do have a handful, they simply are not eligible. We have noticed the groups, we have noticed all of the grantees. The next reporting deadline is July 31, which is the end of the quarter. So again, if they don't get into compliance or submit their reports, they're simply not eligible. Okay. And I think I've talked with the commissioners that have ones that have outstanding grants on their island. So they're aware as well. Okay. And I guess my last slide. So basically, you know, we're issuing 4 RFPs at the same time. So it's going to get a little complicated. We've not issued that many before. And I always advise the groups, right? Please carefully read the RFP, follow the instructions. And then a friend of mine said, yeah, and you tell them again, Jeeves, repeat steps 1 and 2. Yeah, so it's, you know, these there's something for everybody, right? If you're a new organization, you know, there's the capacity building, the project implementation. If you're one of the older and more mature associations that have land disposition from us and facilities, there's, the larger grants for improvements to the facilities, as well as ongoing programs. So let me stop there.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
I get it.
Go ahead, Patty. Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to thank Gigi. You've been so helpful and informational on especially understanding the grants. So I really appreciate the communication. 8.5 million, that's amazing. And that's not from the 600 million. I mean, that's amazing for grant for to have that much money available for beneficiaries and homesteaders. I mean, that's terrific. Awesome. My question is, so you mentioned that you don't have to be a 501, and so does that mean that you still have to be HHC compliance with the state to get on the RFP application?
Yes, that is a hard state requirement. The Hawaii Compliance Express applies to everything. Yes.
And the last one is, when is the RFP is going to be coming out? Is it soon?
Pretty soon, it's going through some final reviews. And, as soon as we can finish it off, so we are targeting early August. The, first week of August is our target. So.
And that goes to 2023. I mean, so you have your RFP, and when is the final for your project ending?
We're looking at 2 to 4 year grant periods, but that'll be spelled out in the RFP. I don't want to get too much into the detail because they're still being finalized.
And lastly, will this RFP be available on your website, or how are you going to get that information out to nonprofits and beneficiaries that you can apply to it?
Yeah, we do post, we're required to post it on the State Procurement Office website. In fact, the address is at the bottom of that table, so if you guys want to, once it's up. So we do have to post it there. We have posted it on the DHHL website as well. We did in the last couple of years. We're also putting out a news release. And then we always do a notice by email to all of the associations, whether they have a grant with us now or not. And then I've been collecting addresses, people have inquired. So we'll be doing email notice blasts to them as well. We also hold in pre-proposal orientation. Yeah, it is optional. It's not required. But all groups are welcome. Anybody who's interested, come to the orientation, and we'll do a presentation to go over the RFPs and then Q&A time.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. It's like Christmas in July.
Yes.
Thank you, all that money. Oh my God. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Patty. Any other questions?
Yes, that is very clear in all the RFPs. If they are out of compliance or they're not current on their current grant, they're simply not eligible. Yeah, and we've used that. That's always been standard in our applications.
Well, I just want to say that's really important because this is a windfall opportunity. So if you're not current on your reporting, you're missing out on a really great opportunity. So I just want to echo that out there. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Must be current on the reporting. They were notified by you guys.
Yes,
So
yes, they know.
They know. And if they don't respond, well, they're lost.
Yeah, and most of the ones who are outstanding, it's been several months. So it's not like this is just this last quarter they fell behind. I've been waiting for reports for several months.
It's too bad because, this is the problem. The associations, they have all these goals in mind, and yet, they have the opportunity to apply for these grants, and now they just don't. They gotta take it at Kuleana, and it's you can give them so much, but then they have to do their part.
Yeah.
But thank you, Gigi, for all your hard work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gigi. Does it sound like we have any further questions? Oh, Mike.
For the different associations and people interested, like a workshop?
Yes.
When is that going to be scheduled for?
Right
when-
now,
when-
tentatively, we have it the week of August, the first week of August.
First week of August.
Yeah.
But then you'll let all the associations and everybody know. that-
Yeah, and it'll be posted on our website because we'll put the, the links and all the
Okay.
materials.
All
Yep.
right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
mahalo, Gigi. And
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Okay, F. Stand by, Andrew, we're gonna go to F5. Or 6, I'm sorry, F6. So I put on my glasses, I could see.
Aloha and good afternoon, Commissioners. Kahanu Albino, Acting Administrator, Land Management Division. I got a short for information only presentation under agenda item number F6. Michael. So this for information only is a status and midterm plan update for Mapunapuna Kai, or better known as Mapunapuna Shackley Flats area. First slide, you'll see we have approximately almost 14 acres of land out in Mapunapuna. I have a TMK map up on the screen. Just for information, all the red, it's about 20 lots that we have there. And there's a yellow kind of highlighted marking there, which highlights the ditch. One road, actually not one road, but just a ditch area that overflows that we have problems with, and that kind of floods out some of the tenants near the Makai side. So that's on the roadside, this side of our parcels. Yeah. The next slide. This is an aerial, Google aerial that you can see. It's kind of reoriented. You can see the red highlighted area is the ditch area, and then our lots are again delineated by the yellow outlined areas. And again, we have about 20 parcels there. And then the third slide, next slide. The reason for our presentation here is to give you guys an update as to where our leases are and the expiration of almost majority of all the leases that we have there is expiring in October of 2022. So in a short 3-4 months that is coming up. So the light green areas, you'll see 2022 on there. There's a green, darker green area. We have rights of entry. Well, the first right of interest is parcel number 10. We do not have a right of entry there. We had one a few years ago. Unfortunately, that is now vacant. And recently we had a fire situation there that you'll see in pictures in coming slides that I'll highlight on that. We have parcel number, I think 18 on that corner. We have a number of right of entries in, we have about 3 right of entry tenants in that parcel. And the reason why we have right of entry tenants in that parcel was because when that parcel was surrendered back to Hawaiian Homes Commission back in, I want to say 2014, 15, right around that time, that tenant did have subtenants, and we retained the subtenants as right of entry tenants in that area. So they're like bays that they have in there. The bottom parcel number 33, we do not have a right of entry tenant. We did have one. Unfortunately, due to the homeless situation, inundated with homeless, they decided to step out because of some of the damage, some of the vandalism that they experienced there. I know there's a yellow parcel there. We are in dispute with that one. I gotta circle back with the AGs on where we go with that. And there's 3 light green parcels that says 2025, parcel number 34, 35, and 31. That'll expire in 2025, next 3 years. So that's just some information on what we're looking at as far as the Mapunapuna Shafter Flats or Mauna Kai area. Next slide, please. In this slide, we show the current tenants that'll be, their leases will be expiring in October of this year. We have a total of 12 of them that will be expiring, and that's their annual rents. You can see the name of the lessee, the lease number, and the amount of rent that we, or the amount of revenue that we generate from these parcels. You'll see a highlighted one, number 12, WP Inc., general lease S4127. They're not current with their rent, so we have to follow up with them. But in all other, with all the other tenants, they are current, up to date with the rent that they're paying, and they pay on a timely basis. So again, we generate about 2.3 million from these parcels. Next slide. Yep.
Magnitude.
I'd have to double check. I don't want to give it wrong, or, you know. I gotta double
The
check.
question was on that one that's in default. Well, what's the amount of the default?
I gotta double check on that, so I'll
Okay.
get back to you guys on that.
Thanks.
Okay, and again, some property info. Again, we have 20 parcels in that Mapunapuna area, ranging in size from 10,000 square feet to about little over 47,000 square feet. Again, the properties are leased to various tenants. Some of the problems we have, again, like I had mentioned, the Makai areas of property experience drainage and ponding issues during heavy rains and high tides, particularly around the intersection of Sokoi and Kili House streets. And again, inundated with illegal trespassers, homeless encampments in and around the area. Next slide. On July 6th, there was a recent fire to one of these parcels. This is the vacant parcel, one of the vacant parcels that we have. This building area, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, fire had gutted the upper, the second story area, and you can see the homeless that we have there. We have, again, tried to address the homeless issue. We've issued notices. They get out and they return again, kind of thing. So you see more of the pictures. On the right side, you'll see from the Mauka looking to Makai. The fire again was in that top structure right there. And then there's a warehouse that is connected to that. Also, the warehouse, to my knowledge, was not damaged by the fire. Yes, yeah. So if you go back to the, maybe the second slide, Michael, please. I'll show you guys from the aerial where that property is. So it's the light green parcel number 10. That's where that parcel is. Okay, thanks, Mike. Yep. The homeless. Yes, correct.
You can see their tent there
Yep.
on the
Right in
bottom.
the bottom left-hand corner. Picture right there, right in the front. And that fire, like I said, just recently happened beginning part of this month. Okay, next slide, please. So some of the options that we're looking at in addressing the area, specific area, and just for some background information, these lands are not original Hawaiian homelands. These lands were given over to us, exchange, or not. I don't think it was land exchange. It was more
Compensation.
land exchange.
Compensation.
Compensation. Back in 1986. So it became into Hawaiian homelands inventory since 1986. So those are terms of the lease that were already in place. It's not in a new lease. So they expire, like I said, coming in October. Some of the options, like I said, we leave it status quo where we let the leases expire, and we figure out how we're gonna issue out the leases. Or number two, we do a midterm redevelopment path. The midterm redevelopment path would include issuing 10-year extension, which allowed the HRS statute 17136 allows us to extend any general lease not exceeding 65 years. Yeah. That's what we're looking at. And for the parcels that are vacant, we would look to redevelop those parcels. And also, in addition to redeveloping those parcels, we'd look for somebody to help us address the drainage issue with that drainage line coming down on the top side that I highlighted. Or third option would be land exchange kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, next slide. The next two slides, Hawaiian Homeland, our office did conduct a study for consumption plans back in September 2019 for the area. Some relevant points that I had noted here with regards to the actual study. The study was done by PBR Hawaii, along with a team of professionals that helped them with the study. And again, based on a consultation with DHL and a market review of various commercial and industrial development types, it was decided that it was decided that the study team investigate a higher density vertical industrial product for portions of Moanulukai. Any such development would be implemented by a third-party developer pursuant to a general lease, and development will occur in phases in order to address existing general lease obligations and market absorption. Next slide. So in the end, there were three main issues that had, I guess, put a halt to the long-term option in redeveloping this area. Number one was subject to periodic flooding, high tides and severe weather events, and could be susceptible to more flood risk, largely known to be underlain by fill material and soils type of which special seismic design should be evaluated, and which will require foundation improvements and enhancements. And three, again, subject to height and noise restriction due to its proximity to HNL. Lastly, the study found that development costs for phases 1 and 2 could be expected to be some 222 million and 182 million respectively, or 405 million in total, including construction loan interest in 2019 dollars. Approximately 66 million or 16% of overall costs, 20% of construction only costs are attributable to the cost of special foundation for the multi-story buildings. Again, these are highlighted points that I pulled out of the report that was provided by PBR. Next slide. Short-term options, midterm, as I mentioned, midterm redevelopment path consideration. Again, a 10-year license extension for the current good standing leases and retaining strong tenants. And the second thing would be craft an RP for redevelopment partners to address the vacant parcels and the ditch that needs to be addressed. I recommended the midterm path consideration, again, a 10-year lease extension for the current leases that are in good standing, and then craft the RFP for redevelopment. Next steps, we would come back to the Hawaiian Homes Commission for approval for authorization to extend current general lease dispositions that are in good standing. And the authority, as I mentioned, section 17136 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes allows the commission, or authorizes the commission to grant 10-year extensions, just so that they don't exceed a 65-year term. And then commence the consideration for a redevelopment plan.
Thank you, Kahanu.
Questions?
Yes, sure.
Yep.
Go ahead, Zachary.
So in the short term, it's a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
You said there's 20 parcels?
Yes.
Okay, so out of the 20 parcels, 85% in good condition, or you said how many?
The leases that we have, out of the 12 that I showed, 11 of them are in good standing. Only one of them is delinquent. As far as the structures, they're kind of older structures. I haven't been on the properties to view the structures that are there, but I would imagine that it's older structures.
So you said we're taking it over in October?
Yeah, it returns back to the, if we don't extend the lease term will expire in October, correct?
And then those businesses that's in good standing, like say 11 out of the 20. Is there a scale of how much we're gonna charge them for that particular parcels?
The statute requires us to redetermine the rent to do an appraisal of the property.
And that's how you're gonna
Yes,
determine the
correct.
amount of money that the department can make, right?
And in addition to that, since this is an opportunity for us or an opportunity for the current tenants to take advantage of, they cannot come back to us and ask to renegotiate the rent because we're given an opportunity to extend the lease for an additional 10 years.
So you don't know what they're paying right now.
I had listed
Okay,
what they're, yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
So it'll be comparable to that, or it'll be?
I think it'll be much higher than what,
Oh,
I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay, let's go finish this side. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Patty, and then.
Oh,
come to-
okay. Thank you, Kahana.
Mhm.
Mapunapuna Shafter Flats, how did we inherit that? Can you go back a little bit? What was it? It was a land swap from the department to us? How did we inherit this parcels?
To my knowledge, I believe it was just the either land exchange or what the department, the state of Hawaii owed to us.
Maybe Joby.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joby.
I believe Mapunapuna came into our inventory as a result of the airport extensions in Hilo.
Oh, okay.
And I think compensation for that was the Mapunapuna properties. I'd have to verify that, but that's based on conversations that I've heard over the years with the East Hawaii beneficiaries.
What year was that around?
1986.
Yes.
Oh, 1986. Oh, okay. So we all know that Mapunapuna with the sea rise level, that affect a lot of the rentals that are existing there also, correct? With the sea level rise. Are we having problems with our tenants with the sea level rise in that location?
So there absolutely is a problem with the flooding.
Yeah.
However, industrial space is of such a high demand that you have good tenants that are willing to remain because of, I believe it's location and proximity.
Exactly.
And so when we undertook the due diligence and evaluation in 2019, that was our intention, was to see what it would cost and what it would take to maximize density in that jurisdiction, highest and best use. And as Kahana had described, the development costs were extremely high. So early on, we actually had an opportunity to talk a little bit with Commissioner Kaupu when he first came onto the commission about potential opportunities. And he actually had suggested, even though there are these long-term constraints, there may be opportunity midterm to increase our earnings on those properties, versus just letting it fall into decay. So that was good guidance to staff, and so we've explored that, and that's what we're coming forward to with the commission is, to keep the good tenants in place, but also see if there is the opportunity to redevelop this. It may not solve the drainage issues, but certainly mitigate the impact, and then get the parcels that are in our inventory, into a redeveloped state so that we can increase the general lease revenues and also provide for a presence down there, because that's one of the other challenges we have is the inability to have staff presence there on a regular basis just because of lack of staffing.
So this is an industrial zone area, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I ask maybe an off question? How many Native Hawaiian tenants do you have there in that flats rental?
To my knowledge,
None.
none.
Okay. So the chart that you have from 1 to 12,
Yeah.
you said we have 20 parcels. Where's the rest of the names of the tenants? on
What I
here?
did was I just put the tenants that are
That
expiring.
are, these are the ones that are
Yes,
expiring.
expiring.
Oh,
of
okay.
2022.
So is,
So we have 3 other tenants or 4 other tenants, I think, that's expiring.
also their
2025.
expiration is coming up soon then? Oh, okay. What about the Consento Marble Company? Are they leaving in October? Are they moving out to Kapolei?
If the,
They're at the Kikilihua Street.
what street?
Kikilihua?
How you mean?
Yeah, Kiliho.
That's one of the tenants, I believe,
Their lease expired October.
yes. And one of those,
They're not on here though.
one of the lease properties. I mean, this is how it's named, so they may be doing business as.
They're probably
Constantine or-
subleasing. I think you have some of those tenants there are subleasing
Subleasing,
from the
correct.
regular tenants in
Yes.
that location.
Yeah.
So I think they're one of the subleasers.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. All right, thank you so much. Thank you,
All right,
Mr.
thank
Chairman.
Patty. Is there anything inside of the table? We'll start. Any questions? Nope, okay. Dennis?
Yeah, we just have a couple questions about the engineering study and the,
Yep.
on page 10, where we talked about, the sea level rise, flooding, and then concern about the fill area, underlying fill. So special seismic designs, that's pretty expensive stuff. Again, it's in the looks like your approach pattern to the airspace at the airport. So you may have some noise restrictions and height restrictions. And one of the recommendations is to elevate the floor elevations above the existing grades. So that's also going to limit, and anytime you go up, the cost per square footage is astronomical.
Right.
And that's going to limit the amount of height you can have to make sure you have FAA restriction for the airport and the noise level. So I would say if we're going to look at an RFP looking forward, that we look at a series of engineering core drilling areas to find out what is the subsoil and what's the seismic. Seismic can get very, very expensive. And then in the long term, when we looked at this kind of construction, we look at the amount of dollars you're going to spend. You're still looking at sea level rise. I know it's a prize right now, right? We're making good money on that prize. I would look towards looking at another prize that we can exchange for this and get away from sea level rise and spend our money wisely somewhere else and look at some kind of exchange. First of all, to get out of sea level rise, get away from the airport and those restrictions, and then maybe look to another location. If there's an exchange somewhere, a like exchange. Right now, with the 10-year extensions, are you gonna do any improvements at all?
Not us. I would assume that whatever improvements will be
Okay,
done.
so
by
the
the
10-year
lessee.
extension would give them some
Yeah.
financing
Yeah.
opportunities that we would allow
Correct.
them to do. But it's still, we still have the road, the flooding issue.
Correct.
So it's sort of my thought process, long-term, we need to get out of there.
Yeah.
Sea
That was
level
one of the
rise,
options, if you
we're
notice.
gonna
I
be
put-
underwater.
I put in
And all
the
those guys are
options.
gonna leave
Yeah.
and look to somewhere else that's in better shape.
Yeah.
So before we spend too much money, do a study, but sea level rise is there, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we really need to look at another location. But I agree that, the 10 years makes sense. Don't have to spend a lot of money. They could get financing in 10 years. They can do what they need to do. They're happy. We can get more native Hawaiians, it'd be great. But it looks like everybody's pretty happy there now.
Yeah.
You're still gonna have the homeless problem. You have a couple, you have that one building that burned down, but if it's, and knowing that commercial property is right at the top of everybody's list right now, trying to find a place to do their commercial and close to the airport helps. The 10-year plan sounds good at this point. But going through an RFP, I would look at trying to get underground work first. Then think about, do we really want to spend, $500,000 or do we look at something else? Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Dennis, just the redevelopment proposal that they were mentioning, I talked to Kahana and Joby about, it was more to go, we would just be the ground lessor. And we would go find a third party to expend the due diligence, spend the money on whatever fill and whatnot. I mean, we step back in our, if we took the risk of being the developer, then we could earn the developer returns. But we're not suited to be developers and bear that risk. Yeah. So that's the proposal that they were working on. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions this side? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Yes. So with the recent like high surf and whatnot, did any reports of flooding there?
Always when we get the king tides and when there's heavy rains, we always get calls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
But these
um,
tenants deal with it, so, you know, yeah.
What year did this property get turned over? to?
1986.
86.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you say there's 20 parcels.
Yes.
And these 12 are coming up on expiration. So you got
Correct.
them. And so you have the revenue is little over 2
0.3,
million.
yeah.
With the other 8 parcels, is it more?
Um,
Revenues?
We have vacant ones, so, that are in that number, yeah.
Right, but there's 20 parcels.
Yeah.
Are all of them leased out to someone?
Not all of them.
Oh,
Not
okay.
all of them.
But so then the total revenues is still only 2?
Yeah.
Okay, of a total 20 parcels. So yeah, Joby, you mentioned, well, before I ask Joby, do we have like a value estimate for these 13 acres?
Not yet, yeah. That's
Or
one of
14 acres,
the
no?
things that we will need to do is get an appraisal.
Yeah.
Appraisal done.
And the lessees, the folks who have leases, were they already there before the properties were turned over to the department?
Yeah,
To
I
my
believe so,
knowledge,
yeah.
yeah.
They're all there.
Some might have been assigned, before coming to us, but for the most part, from 86, the leases have been in place. The same
Okay.
lease number, same
Okay.
account, kind of thing, yeah.
Do we know if we've got like beneficiaries that are on the parcels or not?
I wouldn't be able to answer that.
So if I may, so there's the 12 existing leases that Kahana mentions, of
Right.
which one is in delinquent, but the other 11 are good credited
Good
tenants,
standing,
right?
Yeah.
And then there's 3 parcels that are in our inventory already. And then a 4th parcel that is technically in our inventory, but we're in a dispute with dealing with the existing occupant. So there's 12 and then 4 parcels that are DHHL properties, right?
Okay.
And then there's 1 parcel that goes out to 2064, long-term lease.
Yeah.
So that's 5. And then the remaining 3 expire in 2025. So the 4 parcels that are in our inventory, we would include as part of the redevelopment options to see what proposals come forward. In the process of that evaluation, we certainly can put in, what is the developer able to do to support beneficiary-based businesses,
Okay.
right? As a consideration for that. So that presents the opportunity with the new these parcels that, they're sitting vacant. They're a land management issue for us.
Mhm.
Is there the opportunity for a developer to make modest, adjustments to mitigate the sea level impacts and the drainage, but also, put up warehousing or whatever and support some level of beneficiary business growth? Yeah, so we don't know what proposals are coming forward, but that would be my recommendation to try to, in this location, in this midterm, to support beneficiary business growth, but also keep tenants that have the credit and, will bring us income over this 10-year kind of interim period while we look at potential long-term options like a land swap.
Okay. Yeah, one more thing I wanted to ask. You wanted to add something, Kyle?
No, just I wanted to add that for information, I will add the report that I'm highlighting in here to the drive, I guess, for commissioners, if you guys want. I know it was presented back to the commission back in 2019, but just for information, if you guys want to read that report, I'll
Yep.
add it to the drive.
That'd be interesting to me. One
Yeah.
more I want to ask about maybe Joby. So in 1986, because you mentioned of the Hilo Airport, the state needed more area for the airport. And so the department entered into this agreement, and what did the commission back then vote on accepting the swap?
That's what I suspect. I'd have to go back and actually confirm that, but that's what I believe happened and how these properties came into our inventory.
So my question is, was like Hilo get any kind of like benefit out of this swap or compensation, or can you check up on that too?
Sure. I mean, I think at
Unless
the-
you know,
no, I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah.
because I mean, Hilo was impacted. and then We
Yes.
got this property into our inventory, which is a great asset. I mean, don't get me wrong. Just wondering how, if any, Hilo, Kekaha, may have been,
We can follow up and see if there was any direct benefit to East Hawaii regarding, when that taking happened
that would
or
be
that
helpful.
land exchange happened and occurred.
that'll be helpful.
Okay.
Thanks.
The property with the fire. So when that lease is POW or, relinquished, those properties come back, become THHL state properties, right? Those warehouses and that. So when that happens, does the state, are we supposed to put insurance on that property, or does the state have a insurance coverage for that, for state buildings, or how does that work?
The state is self-insured.
Yeah.
Self-insured. So now that we suffered a fire, is there some state fund that can go after for repair and
I have to follow
rehabilitation?
up with Rodney. I know I spoke to Rod after speaking to you about that.
Yeah.
And I had mentioned to Rodney, there's a risk management team that, forms we have to fill out, and they go there and assess the damage and,
I don't believe that we can file against
Okay.
ourselves.
And then kind of prospectively, now that we're aware of that issue with homeless occupying and starting fires, we got to do something, right? We got to, because right now, the neighboring warehouses are right there. They're literally adjacent, right? And I mean, thank God it didn't spread to the next warehouse, but if it did, that's our kuleana, right? That's our, yeah, I think so. So we need to think about that.
Can I say something to you?
Sure.
I like the idea what you brought up, Joby, about looking at a developer and looking at these parcels that a developer can come up probably with a proposal vision to have availability of a warehouse, a business center, offering to beneficiaries to have business clubs in that area, and just I hope that we can also see that recommendation out in Kalailoa, that we can see a developer. For one thing, Mapunapuna is a prime area. This area, it is a good location, centralized in the urban area. But what you brought out about having like a developer come in and do like a business center and to offer good comfortable rent for beneficiaries who have businesses, whether it's trucking, whether it's auto detail or something like that, and so just wanted to comment on that. I'd like that support. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Patty.
you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, just want to add a statement. So I would caution the commission in placing too much emphasis on a particular area benefiting. This is a statewide trust, and the proceeds of the revenue go to statewide projects. So the only reason I bring this up is in my previous professional employment with the harbors, there was always a drive by the Alawai, which was the biggest revenue generator, to take all the money and just apply it to the Alawai. But just like with airports, it's a statewide system. So I just caution that we not get into that, it's on my island, so all of the resources need to stay on my island, because we do have a statewide trust. So.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, only Hilo benefit, but Hilo was impacted.
Yes. I agree
Thank
with you.
you. So
Okay.
commissioners, last thing, next month, Kahanu will be bringing a item for action to authorize us to extend these leases and to proceed with the redevelopment. So we just wanted to let you know that'll be forthcoming.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Kahana, and thank you, Joby.
Chair.
Okay, G5. Andrew? And Perlin, you've been standing by patiently.
Yes, in brief, item G5 is for information. It's the annual status update on plan implementation in the Konamoku on the island of Oahu. The presentation was given in full at the community meeting last evening at Papakolea. So in the interest of time, commissioners, if you had any questions on the report, we'd be happy to take those questions now and not run through the full presentation.
Commissioners, questions for Andrew regarding this agenda item? Well, it looks like Andrew and Perlin, you guys are gonna get off easy today.
We had our lunches. Nobody like talk.
Nobody like that.
Come on, just before lunch.
Okay, we're gonna let them go. Appreciate that. And that
Mahalo, commissioners.
surprisingly brings us to the end of the agenda. So the only announcement I have is next month's meeting is on Kauai, and it is on August 15th and 16th. Okay, so Stuart, come tell us about the blessing of the water tank on Kauai.
All right, this is like really good news. Ahola water system, which is one of the USDA funded projects with the loan and grant, is about in its last quarter of completion. And so the new concrete water tank has been erected. It's been, the water is being tested now, and we think it's going to be in operation by mid-August. And so what we'd like to do is a blessing ceremony there. And Commissioner Nevis was there when the old tank was demolished, and just before the tank came up, we had a blessing there and participated in that. And so so now it's nearly done, and that's great. Also wanted to report that we are receiving reimbursements with the grant funding provided by USDA. So I think we've got close to $2 million returned to the HHL from the grant subsidies provided by USDA. So I've talked to USDA, and they're open to participating, and they're available. This would be August 16, approximately 8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So
Good news. Yeah. I just want to point out how creative Stuart was. There was an incident with potential interactions with seabirds in which horizontal lights were, we were told not to use horizontal lights. And Stuart and the contractors used, vertical lights was not approved. So they used horizontal lights, i.e. all of the construction equipment with lights on at the time for this pour that had to occur at night because you needed a certain amount of concrete in a certain amount of time to cure. So I just want to thank Stuart for a very creative solution to a problem that arose at the last minute. And so, thank you. Not everybody can do that, Stuart.
Actually, this was a team effort, and the reason why we had to pour at night was that the concrete trucks, with all the traffic on Kauai, couldn't get to the site adequate time. The concrete needs to to set and cure, and so that's why they did it at night. And the community was real supportive, and so it went off without a glitch. So
Is this like where you park around the play field at nighttime so your kids can practice or finish their
Absolutely.
football game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So line up all the
Right.
trucks, headlamps.
Actually, Stuart was out there with a flashlight on top because he couldn't point it up in the air.
The only reason I bring that up is because you'd never know if I didn't tell you the extent to which, Stuart and the rest of the crew work hard at trying to solve problems that.
Did a good job, and the
Pop
community
up.
is very supportive, and there was, everything done at night saved us on getting stuck in traffic, because you have to go to Halfway Bridge on the other side of Collar Hill, and you would have never got there during the day. You'd had a bunch of trucks with a bunch of concrete in, you have to get new trucks. So it was a smart move, worked out well. Community's happy.
So unless there are any objections, we are adjourned.
We're adjourned.
Thank you. Are you gonna flight arrangements for those that want to go back earlier? Okay.